So I want to ask a question I never asked before, or I never created a content about this topic before, but I had an argument with someone about this topic. Okay. When Palestine was created?
The term Palestine has been used for centuries to describe a geographic region in the Middle East. However, the modern political entity of Palestine, as we understand it today, has a complex history. The state of Palestine was declared in 1988 by the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO. It has been recognized by many countries.
Okay. I want the beginning, like the beginning when, like the Palestine was created, like in BC time.
Got it. The name Palestine actually dates back to ancient times. It was used by the ancient Greeks and Romans to describe the region. The name Philistia or Palestina was used around the 5th century BC, and it referred to the area inhabited by the Philistines. Later on, the Romans renamed the region Palestina after the Bar Kokhba revolt in the 2nd century AD. So the name has a long and ancient history.
It's not in 1200 BC?
The region was indeed inhabited by various peoples well before 1200 BC. The Canaanites were one of the earliest known groups living in the area, and the Philistines arrived around the 12th century BC. However, the name Palestine itself wasn't used until much later by the Greeks and Romans. So the concept of the region is ancient, but the specific name came later.
Canaanite people, are they Jewish?
The concept of the canonized nine is a bit vague in terms of historical or religious context, so I'm not entirely sure which specific group you mean. If you're referring to a particular religious or historical group.
Canaanite, you said Canaanite who lived in Palestine in 1200 BC. Are they Jewish?
I see what you mean. The canonized nine might be referring to a group of ancient figures or leaders from that era. The term Jewish, as we understand it today, didn't really exist back in 1200 BC. The people living in that region at the time were primarily Canaanites, and later the Israelites emerged as a distinct group. So the people from that period wouldn't have been considered Jewish in the modern sense, but they were certainly the ancestors.
They had their own language and traditions?
Absolutely. The people living in that region, like the Canaanites, had their own distinct language, culture, and traditions. Their language was part of the Northwest Semitic language family, which is related to Hebrew and Phoenician. They had their own religious practices, deities, and customs, and they were a vibrant, diverse culture that laid the groundwork for the later Israelite culture.
So these Canaanite people are not Jewish at all, yes?
That's correct. The Canaanites and other groups living in the region around 1200 BC were not Jewish in the modern sense. The Jewish identity as we know it today developed later with the emergence of the Israelites and their distinct religious and cultural identity. So the Canaanites were a separate group with their own unique traditions and beliefs.